What's up, guys? Final Whistle Sports here. I'm Josh. I'm with Jeremiah today, and we're going to be doing our second mock draft on the channel here. Hopefully, we'll start to do something like a mock draft Monday where we post a mock draft every Monday with the new updates that are going around the league. This week, there hasn't been too much going on. We're just trying to start a new consistent thing. So let's get into it. So I think I'll start with the first overall pick this time since you did last time. My first overall pick, I talked about this a little bit last time, but I feel like the Titans are kind of setting up to take a quarterback with the new signing of the offensive lineman. There are a lot of other needs on this team. They did just lose Harold Landry, which could point some people towards them drafting Abdul Carter, but I think they do get their new franchise piece, hopefully for them, in Cameron Ward out of Miami quarterback. There are some holes in this game. This is not a great QB class. I think Cam Ward, I mean, some people argue that Cam Ward would be like a second-round pick in last year's draft. I think Cam Ward could have gone in the first round last year, but he would be the fourth QB off the board in that Bo Nix spot. So,
I
yeah.
mean, that's definitely debatable. This definitely is a weak QB class
Yeah,
leading
it
into
is.
our
It is.
next pick.
It is for sure.
Especially with, the top two guys just aren't, world beaters like we've seen in some of these past drafts.
Yeah.
It's kind of more similar to that Kenny Pickett draft.
Uh,
But
I think these guys
it's
are
better.
they're
It's
definitely
better, but it's similar in the depth at least.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think I'll go in somewhere the same direction with the Cleveland pick. I don't see them going anywhere other than the QB spot. So let me get Shador off the board a lot earlier than we did in our last draft.
Yeah, a lot earlier. We had him all the way down at the Steelers pick.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this pick for the Giants is basically a no-brainer. I mean, I could definitely see if the board falls a little bit differently on draft day. Like the Giants, I definitely would not agree with this decision, but the Giants sometimes can be like a frantic organization and they just take quarterback because they see one there. But I think if Travis Hunter is available, he would be the pick for them. So I'm going to go with that. They did just sign Paulson Adebo, like we said in the last video, which is a good move, but you got to fill in that other corner spot. Or he can even be a weapon. But this year, since the quarterback is looking like it might be Jameis Winston for now, you maybe want to keep him mainly at cornerback this year. So I'll go with Travis Hunter out of Colorado. Best player in the draft for me, at least.
Okay. I'd probably lean more towards Abdul Carter, but
yeah, that's fair for sure.
I think with this fourth pick, it gets interesting because with Abdul Carter still on the board, I mean, it could go a couple ways, honestly.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You could go with a weapon like T-Mac. I mean, their offense needs a lot of help. You could go with one of the linemen, but it gets kind of hard to choose a lineman because you don't know how much teams will value Will Campbell's arm length. But yeah. I think honestly we'll stick with the lineman pick and go with Will Campbell. Even though his arms are short and Abdul Carter is on the board, I think they are going to lean more towards offense.
Will Campbell over Abdul Carter on the board. You're going Will Campbell?
I think so. Their defense just isn't.
Wow.
I don't think they're going defense in this draft, honestly, as a priority. And every tackle in this draft really has short arms for what you'd like. So I'm going to go with
Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons is a tackle. He's a tackle.
I think he has the same length arms as Kelvin Sampson, though.
Kelvin
Banks.
Kelvin Banks. Josh Simmons is a tackle for me, like and for a majority of people. So you're taking Will Campbell, no best player available.
I'm going with Will Campbell, especially because I'm going with Will Campbell.
Wow, that's a bit of a shocker. Okay. Well, I mean, the Jaguars have Trayvon Walker on the edge. But, I mean, I think you go best player available here. This is arguably the best player in the draft. So, I mean, he falls here. We go with Abdul Carter. I mean, yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward pick since Jeremiah decided to go with Will Campbell.
Now, I think the Raiders would be looking offense here after signing or after trading for Geno. You could give him two toys to play with either T-Mac or Ashton Genty.
Wow.
And honestly,
pause.
Sorry?
Pause.
Nah, he likes playing with them. Okay. And so I think either way, you can't really go wrong, but I'm going to go best offensive player available or best skill position player available. Give me Ashton Genty.
All right, thought so. It's a great pick. I think that offense with Ashton Genty, if he pans out the way you want him to, that could be a really nice offense.
Just sad because I'd love to see him with the Bears. Love to see him with Caleb.
Yeah, for sure. So this one I'm kind of I would have been leaning towards offensive tackle. Mason Graham usually goes to the Jags for me, but because he's still on the board, I think he definitely goes here. He's a really explosive player. Yes, he weighed in at smaller than what we thought, but he plays big, but he also plays fast. I think he's a really great prospect, and yeah, I think he'll fill in that hole that the Jets have on the interior defensive line.
All right, and next we've got the Panthers, who had a terrible defense last year. I think defense is by far the biggest concern here.
Or
Um,
T Mac wouldn't be too bad though.
I'm not against their weapons they currently have though. Like it's not
Uh,
the best
yes, no,
situation,
no,
but
no, no. We like Jalen Coker on this channel. We love him, but
hey,
their
that's a
their
1,000 yard
weapons,
guy next year.
their weapon. I don't know about that. Their weapons are their weapons are pretty terrible. But yeah, defense is definitely worse than the offense last year. So you can continue. But yeah,
Ooh, can you scroll down on the board for me?
okay. You have
Um,
Jalen Walker pretty far down.
we
Shamar is
do.
pretty
We've
far
got
down.
Shamar Stewart. We've got Michael Williams. All three of them back to back.
Yeah.
Oof. You know what? He's on the board. He's the highest guy on the board. Give me T Mac. I do like increasing the weapons for Bryce Young to play with.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So now we have the New Orleans Saints. You know, they could use a D lineman. You know, I think Jalen Walker could be in play here. Um, Brandon Staley just took over for the Saints, and I feel like Jalen Walker kind of fits the mold of he likes athletic guys. But this is an interesting pick here. Or we could go Michael Williams. I mean, there are a lot of great picks here. This is interesting. What do you think?
I'm leaning more of an edge here. I like
An edger?
Shamar Stewart or Michael.
Yeah,
I mean, if you
yeah, yeah,
project Jalen Walker as an edge, which I think most people are projecting him off the ball, then you could take him here. But I like Shamar or Michael here.
yeah. I think I'll go with Shamar Stewart, athletic freak, one of if not the star of the combine. He rose a lot after that combine, so I'll go with Shamar here. But I think Jalen Walker could be a good fit for that scheme because Brandon Staley likes those really quick athletic guys off the edge. So yeah, but we continue with the Bears pick.
Yep, and we got the Bears, who a lot of people are saying are the winners of free agency, which I wouldn't disagree with. They really beefed up that O line, so I don't see O line as a pick really necessary. I mean,
Necessary, yeah.
you could go for the tackle.
Yeah, for
So
the left tackle, Darnell's
yeah,
Darnell's safest spot, or Darnell's spot is safe. Sorry.
yeah, and so I mean, Kelvin Banks wouldn't be a bad pick here.
Yeah.
I mean, if there was a better receiver, I know a lot of people are high on Matthew Golden. I've seen some people mock Matthew Golden in the top 10, which I
Wow.
wouldn't, but I've
Whoa.
seen that
I
this
haven't
year.
seen that. That's crazy. Wow.
But if there was a better receiver here, I wouldn't be, or not receiver, but just like offensive weapon here. And I don't see them taking Tyler Warren, so
Omarion Hampton, my goat.
I'm not as high on him as you are.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, yeah, you just go best tackle available here, best left tackle available here, and I'll go with Kelvin Banks.
Okay. Yeah, I understand why. I think I like Josh Simmons' tape a lot. He
Mm-hmm.
does on top of the torn ACL. He also has patellar issues, which is a concern. Me myself, I would be a D1 athlete currently. If I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have patellar issues, we all
And if
know
you
this.
reclass back down to where
And
you
if I
should be, right?
reclass back
Yeah,
to my career, everyone knows this.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
one of
yeah.
the best players out here. But
Yeah, my
yeah,
tendonitis is holding me back terribly. Yeah.
yeah, for sure. Both of us, we shouldn't be here doing a podcast, but patellar issues have us where we are. But it's okay. But yeah, Kelvin Banks, yeah, one of my favorite tackles in this draft. I think he like Membu. I just really like as an all around player, but yeah, I think Banks definitely has a good chance at sticking at tackle. Speaking of Membu, that's going to be my next pick right here. Membu
Okay.
can play guard. He can play tackle, but he's a freak athlete. He moves well to the second level. I really like his tape, and you know what I always say: you put out good tape in the SEC, you're usually a safer bet. And he did that, and he played good football this year. And in the combine and in this draft process, he's looked amazing. And yeah, just a really great athlete that has positional versatility for a 49ers team that definitely needs to beef up their offensive line because Brock Purdy was getting pressured a lot this year.
I like that pick. And here comes a tough one, which is what I'm glad I didn't have to do last time. The Cowboys. It's kind of impossible to predict what Jerry's going to do here.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I wouldn't be mad at like a Mike Green pick here. That seems like the type of guy that Jerry would like. Kind of a cute. Yeah, can you go to the edges?
We still have Mike Kell on the board here.
Yeah, so I have Mike Hill, so I have James Pierce. Pretty stacked edge class. I'm not gonna lie. I really
It's
like this edge
it's a
class.
good edge class, yeah, for sure. You even have some guys like Princely, JT.
Even
These
Landon
guys,
Jackson.
Kyle
He
Kennard.
might lack some bend, but I love Landon Jackson.
Yeah, Kyle Kennard can play. Like you have some guys down the board here. It's a very solid edge class, but we'll get back to what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean,
You can eat.
someone might like Omarion Hampton here even, but I think I like Mike Green. I think we'll go
Yeah,
with the edge.
Mike Green. Yeah, but the Cowboys said they're not drafting a running back
Yeah.
first round, no matter what. Even if Gent's on the board, they said they're not. Next up, I'm looking at this top guy on the board right here. I mean, he can play ball. Like even though he's undersized, I definitely understand the projection of him being a nickel, and I agree with that to be honest. But I think he's so talented. Like he can
He
play
can
on
play
the
all three.
boundary. He can play on the boundary. He can play safety. I think he's just a football player. He's. I'm an OU fan, and I really enjoyed watching this guy play football last year. I can't say that about too many people at Texas, but
I
I
know, I
really
agree. I
do.
mean,
Yeah.
we're both Texas haters as an A&M fan,
Yes.
and
Yes, we
he's
are.
just a guy. He's a
He's
dude.
just he's a dude. He's a dude. He can play ball. Yeah, they're oh no, I think he's my pick
Even
here.
at 5'11", 194, I wouldn't say that's like aggressively underweighted. Like that's not
Yeah,
something that I would
he's
say is
not
a word.
terrible, but he is
Yeah.
a little bit like today's boundary corner. You look at Christian Gonzalez. These guys are like a lot longer and bigger.
Hmm.
I don't think Jade Barron necessarily has that, which is why I
Yeah.
understand the nickel projection, but he can still play. This Dolphins secondary has a lot of holes. So yeah, I think Jade Barron is a good pick here.
And a pretty easy one at the next one. Give me Tyler Warren.
Yeah,
Not much explanation.
yeah, we already talked about the safety blanket for Anthony Richardson. This is the make or break year for him. Tyler Warren is a football player. I think he can definitely help.
Especially with the
Um,
QB class coming up next year. There's a couple guys I could pick from.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, Dante Moore, Heisman finalist. Ted Johnson said it. I'm not crazy, but yeah, the Falcons have a lot of defensive holes. Their defense struggled at points this year. Wide receiver, I don't really think Darnell if Darnell Mooney can keep up the production he did last year, I think you find a third guy that's serviceable. I think that could be helpful. Edge and linebacker, we still have Michael Williams on the board here. I'm thinking that's going to be my pick. I mean, this guy did play.
Really?
Who you think Jihad? You want
I
Jihad
love
Campbell?
Jahad Campbell here.
Let's see if it's my pick. Oh, it's not my pick. I want Jihad Campbell somewhere lower down the board, but yeah, um,
Are you
yeah, I'm gonna
thinking
go.
Seahawks?
No, not Seahawks.
Oh, okay.
The Seahawks GM will. I don't think he'll draft a linebacker at that spot because he's a strange guy. He really likes like only focusing on like the premium positions in the
Yeah.
draft, like quarterback. He doesn't like guards and off ball linebackers for some reason. He just doesn't like to draft them. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Michael Williams. This defensive line, they just lost Grady Jarrett. They just have kind of some holes throughout the defense, and I think this could be possibly, what we thought was going to happen last year. If Michael Penix can play good football, I think this team can contend for a playoff stops. But yeah, I really like Michael Williams. Texas, he dominated. Kelvin Banks, he got at him a couple of times in both games, in the regular season game and the SEC championship. I think he's got the tools to be a plus edge rusher day one in the NFL.
All right. And coming up with this Seahawks pick, there's a couple of ways you could go with this.
The Cardinals.
Oh, sorry, Cardinals. It's a
You're
different
good.
bird. But let me take a look at the interior O line guys we have.
Interior O line. So we're gonna have it's Zabel and then Tyler Booker.
Yeah, I'm not. Which I was thinking, I'm not mad at Gray Zabel here, but
yeah, Zabel and Tyler Booker. Oh, okay, they have Tyler Booker on both. Oh, all right. I just clicked both. Never mind.
yeah.
Yeah, these are the guys.
Ooh.
What are you thinking here? I mean, Will Johnson is also still on the board.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Will
Even
Johnson's
a
still
guy
on
like Jalen Walker wouldn't be a
Jalen
terrible pick
Walker.
here.
Yeah, Jalen Walker would not be a terrible pick here at all. We still have Kenneth Grant and Walter Nolan. These are all needs for the Cardinals. Okay, we had some technical difficulties, but we are back, so we can continue about the Cardinals pick.
Yeah, just going back, I think corner is probably a big position of need they want to fix, and with arguably the best corner in the draft on the board, give me Will Johnson.
Okay, yeah. So for the Bengals here, Jalen Walker is definitely in play here. We also still have the interior guys on the board, but I think this is going to be my Jalen Walker spot because D line is also a need for them. You know, outside of Trey Hendrickson, the line just isn't great. The defense isn't great in general. So I think Jalen Walker, with his versatility, can fill a lot of needs on this defense. So I'm going to go with Jalen Walker.
Okay, I tend to see more like Kenneth Grant on that pick, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
have Jalen Walker there.
that's definitely fair for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen Kenneth Grant slipping a little bit though, just with certain concerns about other stuff off the field for him a little bit. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Now with the Seahawks pick, I mean, I think you could definitely go interior O line. We have Gray's Able still on the board. We could, but I mean the edge is looking nice too. I'm not gonna lie.
Edge is looking nice, but I feel like this is like one of the biggest holes in football for me.
Yeah, I mean it was horrendous watching Gino get just harassed last year, but yeah, I think we'll go with Gray's Able here. I like Gray's Able as a
Yeah,
prospect.
yeah. Gray's able. He can even play center too. Is
Mm-hmm.
what I've heard. So, I
Gonna
mean, yeah,
watch some more tape on him with this all 22 we got.
yeah. All right. So yeah, this pick is pretty obvious to me. And to be honest, like thinking about it more, now that they signed Levante David, like I like this pick even more. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna pretty clearly be Jahad Campbell for me. But like the fact that, we saw at the combine, we saw on tape too, Jahad Campbell is a fantastic athlete.
He's
He's
so
really
smooth.
yeah, really smooth. He can read the game well. But now like we can all like at a higher level in the NFL, like playing Mike linebacker is probably a more difficult job than playing on the outside as a Sam or a Will, whatever you like to call it. And I think while Jahad Campbell is definitely going to be on the field because he's that good, like I think you can still give Levante David a lot of the mic snaps, but it's almost like passing the keys to Jahad Campbell. Like Levante David
Pass
is
the torch.
yeah, passing the torch.
Yeah.
Well, passing the keys almost in a sense too, like passing the
Okay.
keys to the defense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Levante David has been a staple of this franchise for so long, and if Jahad Campbell goes into this situation, there's literally nobody better to teach him the ropes of playing Mike in the NFL than Levante David, one of the best players of this past decade, and one of the most underrated in my opinion as well. So I like this Jahad Campbell pick even more now that they re-signed Levante David.
You think he's underrated? I feel like he gets a fair amount of credit.
I mean, bro, like let me check. I think he might have. He gets a fair amount of credit, especially after the Super Bowl. But before, like, he's putting up numbers. Like, yeah, he's made one Pro Bowl.
That's actually surprising.
One Pro Bowl, one All Pro team. Like, Levante David has had a better career than one Pro Bowl. Like,
a lot of those Bucks players went under the radar before.
Yeah, a lot of them. Like that defense was. That's why that's one of the greatest moves in sports history to me, because that defense was ready. But
it's one of the greatest win now moves in it. They're paid
up.
Yeah,
for sure.
And now next with this Broncos pick, I mean, I like beefing up that offense. I like getting a guy that I do not like Omarion Hampton here. I like a guy that Bo Nix can throw to. I'm just thinking best receiver off the board here. I mean, it's your pick, but give me Luther Burden. We're not having Omarion Hampton in the first round here, unless you pull something out.
I don't have it. There's nowhere else.
You don't have the Vikings pick, so yeah.
There's no way they're drafting a running back in the first round with Aaron Jones and
that's the only place I see him in the first round.
Aaron Jones and Jordan Mason. They draft a running back in the first.
Oh, I forgot they've signed Jordan Mason.
Yeah, they traded for Jordan Mason. I don't think that's happening anymore. Omarion Hampton, I'm sorry once again. You deserve better than this. You know, it is what it is, though. Omarion Hampton, you are my pick at 20 for the Broncos. If that means anything to you, if you're watching out there, I love you, bro.
He's a ball player.
All right, yeah, he's a ball 6 foot 220 with that speed and that burst, bro. He is going to be a problem in the NFL. I've heard some Broncos fans are like, please don't mock Omarion Hampton to us because he's a UNC running back and Javante's a UNC running
Really,
back.
well, like who
Who
cares?
cares? I don't care. What? You're gonna take Omarion Hampton and you're gonna like it. But this Steelers team's definitely has some needs. I've heard a lot of Steelers fans saying they don't want Aaron Rodgers anymore, uh, just because of how long he's taking
Understandable.
to make a decision. And I wouldn't
And I mean,
want.
it's 2025 Aaron
It is
Rodgers.
also, let's check the date, March 23rd, 2025. I wouldn't really want Aaron Rodgers on my football team necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah. So safety is a pick here. Malachi Starks is a good football player. Someone else who is also a pick could be Mr. Jackson Dart right here. The
Brandon Leonard above Jackson Dart is nasty.
Yeah, I don't know what they just are not updating stuff. Yeah, like I feel like Kyle McCord is
Curtis Rourke even.
or I don't know about that, but these two are definitely ahead of Riley Leonard.
Oh no, I'm just saying above Tyler Show.
I feel like Tyler Show has gotten some decent buzz to be like a third or fourth round pick. But yeah, we know that the Steelers like Jalen Milrow a lot, but I really do doubt Jalen Milrow is a first round pick. So I think if they do like Jalen Milrow that much, I think they can move away from Jackson Dart because, in my opinion, I love Jackson Dart and I liked watching him play football at Ole Miss. But that's a one read offense, um, and yeah, it's not really pro style, so we'll have a lot to catch up on. I just don't think that's a guy with this Steelers team. You're gonna take Jackson Dart. Like I guess you're gonna sign another veteran for sure, but I don't know about Jackson Dart being the pick there. I'm going to go with Malachi Starks. I think Malachi Starks is, once again, really good football player. Last year was, or 2023 was definitely a better year than 2024 for him, but he had a lot more roles on that defense. I think if he can get back to his main position of safety, I think he'll be a plus starter day one in the NFL with potential to be a lot more because he has a lot of great tape.
You don't want to go O line there
Where?
to the Steelers, just
Um,
theoretically.
I mean, Troy Faltanu will be back. That's literally like a brand new first round pick. But yeah, they do have other holes. Um, who else? What's the name of the center that they drafted? I'm blanking right now.
I know who you're
Um,
talking about.
yeah, he wasn't as good as or Zach Frazier. Yes. Zach Frazier wasn't as great as some Steelers fans thought he would be, but he's still young. I feel like this O line is definitely still young. They've made it younger at least. They made efforts to make it younger. They definitely beefed it up last
What
year.
about Broderick Jones?
Roderick Jones is actually no top two worst offensive linemen I've ever watched. Evan Neal will never lose that spot. Actually, like there are a lot of yeah. I don't know. Joe Tooney in the Super Bowl was a pretty bad watch. But Evan Neal is actually like an idiot. So is Broderick Jones. Those are like two idiots. But yeah, I definitely think Josh Simmons could definitely be in play there for sure. But I don't know. Are you going to take Troy Fautanu? Troy Fautanu is like a blue chip left tackle prospect that's played one game in the NFL, and he had a great preseason and offseason before he got hurt. So I think that left tackle spot is Troy Fautanu's to lose.
I respect that. Just give me your hypothetical.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And now with this Chargers pick, honestly, we went with the Colston Loveland pick last time, which is an easy pick to say. But I do like receiver here. I mean, this is a receiver class. I'm not the highest on Colston Loveland, to be honest. I think he's a good. I know I'm not saying he's not a good prospect.
Yeah.
He's a good prospect, but he's not my favorite. And I know he did receive well, even though it was in a bad offense.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see like a Matthew Golden here. I mean, Emeka Ibuka, with him being a slot guy, I wouldn't really want him to go here, but even Kenneth Grant, like he slid farther than I thought he would in this draft. But I guess it is hard to go against Colson Loveland. I think it's just a
Yeah.
perfect fit pick,
And like,
especially with
yeah,
Harbaugh.
even though Colson Levin is a tight end, one of his biggest concerns is like some people just think he's like a big slot receiver. He's not the best blocker on tape, but he's just a really, really dynamic pass catcher. Like I said last time, 600 yards in this offense is not
Mhm.
an easy thing to do, especially as a tight end, quote unquote. So yeah. Are you gonna go with Colson Loveland or
Yeah, I'm
Kenneth
gonna go
Grant
with Colson
for you?
Loveland.
Colson Loveland is the
And
pick.
I mean, it's not like size is an issue for him. I think blocking can be taught.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay. Packers here. I think we went
We went
Mike.
edge last time,
We
didn't we?
met we met Mike Green last time here.
Yeah. I
Me
mean, with James Pierce
personally,
on the board,
yeah, with James Pierce on the board, that could be a pick. But I'm kind of looking receiver a little bit right here, a
really.
little bit, a little bit. But I think JPJ is still going to be the pick for me. With the problems they've been having in that organization with the wide receivers, maybe they come out and prove Josh Jacobs wrong. Our
Mhm.
favorite group of wide receiver twos and threes. You
And
know,
I mean, you don't want to add like another two. Like if you're gonna pick someone, you want someone that's gonna be a surefire number one or at least a surefire number two. You don't want another just another cool guy.
I think
So
Matthew Golden is a one in the league.
you think he's a one over Jaden Reed, solidified?
Jaden Reed is not very good.
I'm just asking. Is it like, do you think he would be over Jaden Reed for sure?
It depends on what he does in camp. I mean, Justin Reed. Wow, Justin Reed. Justin Jefferson was wide receiver for week 1 of his career.
Hmm.
So, you know, um, but I'm gonna go JPJ here. I'm going to go JPJ. Yes, I think he's a great prospect, athletic freak. We know the speed is there. Yeah, we've seen some character issues, but those things can be fixed. People's heads get smaller whenever they get to the NFL. Plus, like I said last time, reports about him having almost like too much influence at Tennessee that kind of messed with his head a little bit. So obviously, that's not going to be the case in the NFL.
Hmm. And unfortunately, we won't be taking Omarion Hampton here. But
Not.
yeah, I like Kenneth Grant here. I mean, D tackle is definitely a position of need for them, and he's the best one on the board, or the most surefire one on the board. I mean, you could say that Walter Nolan maybe has more talent, but
Yeah,
I'm gonna go with Kenneth Grant here, more surefire prospect.
I think this one is pretty straightforward for me. I'm gonna go with Josh Simmons. One of my favorite like pure tackles in this class. I think he's got the size and his tape is really great. He's got the talent. I really think he could go as high as 10 to the Bears. It really just depends. But yeah, I think he can really play. That injury
I
might
mean, a
hurt
lot of the big linemen in this class are interchangeable. I mean, it wouldn't be crazy
for what? Oh, for
for
Josh
him to
Simmons
go
to go
high.
that high.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I think Josh Simmons is. I think he's the like the tackle of the class. Let me look up Josh Simmons' arm length real
I
quick.
think it's the same length as Kelvin Banks, but I could be wrong.
33. Kelvin
Kelvin
Banks.
Banks is 33 and a half.
33 and a half. Okay. Yeah, but I don't know. I just from what
I
I've
mean,
watched,
you go ahead.
you can go ahead, no worries.
I was gonna say I'd definitely say if we're looking at the like tackle for sure, I'm going with Kelvin Banks, like 100%. I think he's the one guy. I think if Will Campbell does play tackle, I think he was the best tackle in the country last year. But
Yeah,
I think based on size profile in the NFL, I'd say Kelvin Banks is the one surefire guy I could see succeeding at tackle.
that's fair for sure. But Kelvin Banks, like on tape, did struggle a little bit in space. And so like yes, arm length is a huge factor, but also like if you're struggling, like he didn't struggle with bendy guys necessarily, but in the Georgia game, he did struggle. To be honest, he did. Uh,
Which I didn't think necessarily. No, I mean I saw his tape against Jalen Walker, and the
it's
one
not
sack
just
he did
Jalen
give up.
Walker. Michael was. It's not about sacks. I mean, like Michael was blew him up more than once. I'm not only talking
I'll have to
about
look back at
sacks.
that.
Yeah, I'm not only talking about sacks. Like he was getting beat. Both of the tackles in that Texas game were getting beat, and so like arm length is very important, yes, but also like your athleticism, being able to deal with bendy guys in space. That's one thing I like about Will Campbell a lot is
Mhm.
that he's a good athlete, and so you
His
can move
movement is
well.
so it's
Yeah,
textbook.
it's really great. So, yeah, Kelvin Banks, Josh Simmons definitely showed that movement in 2023. Not this year because he was hurt, but yeah. Speaking of 2024, O lineman for Ohio State. I really do like Donovan Jackson. Donovan Jackson is a guard that got asked to move out to tackle for
Mhm.
Ohio State and literally had no problems playing the position. So I think he's a guy that could definitely be in this range for the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs need both positions. I know like the Chiefs have been talking to Josh Carnley a lot. A lot of the Chiefs beat reporters have been saying that, but I think Donovan Jackson is a really good player. But yeah, you can go ahead and go with the Rams pick if you don't have anything else left to say.
Yeah, with the Rams here, I mean,
Hmm.
yeah, you're just not taking any of the tight
Yeah,
ends here. You're not, unfortunately, not taking Harold Fannin in the first round, as much as I love him. But Demetrius Knight isn't a crazy pick here. I'm not gonna lie. Um, I don't know. This is a tough pick to predict. I wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't really go safety here. You could argue Eman Worry, but if
yeah.
I
I
might just
really
go best defensive guy available,
wow.
in
Oh
my opinion. I might go with Walter. No, we're not going with Walter Nolan.
yeah. I
We
don't
have
think defensive line is just not their problem whatsoever.
yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking.
The
They
defensive line really gets after us. I don't know if this is the spot for a defensive lineman.
I'm gonna go with Demetrius Knight Jr.
Demetrius Knight Jr. Yeah, he's a decent prospect. He's kind of recently fallen off a lot of people's first round draft boards, but he's
Hmm.
definitely still a good player for sure. Um, here for the Ravens, they just have a lot of holes in their secondary overall. I mean, you could definitely go with Nicky Manwari. Uh, you could go you could go Tyler Booker, but I mean, this is kind of a run heavy scheme, so I don't really know how he fits in that because he's not the greatest like zone run blocker, which I guess is not really what the Ravens do mostly. They're more of an option type of offense. But I mean, Donovan is also a great pick here. I love Donovan Izraku. Um, but I think I will go with this is interesting.
Mm.
I think I'm gonna stick with Eman Wari. Eman Wari, I think I will stick with Eman Wari. I really like his tape. He can fly around the field. He's a freak athlete. He's got the size. Yeah, I like Eman Wari to the Ravens here.
All right, and I think with the Lions, I mean, you could argue a receiver here. I could see Matthew Golden going here. Not necessarily Abuka because Amon Ra can play in the slot already, but you could also go edge here. I mean, we've got Donovan still on the board. Who else is on the board for the edges?
Let's look. Nick Scorton.
Nick Scoring.
Those are probably the only guys with like a possible first round grade left.
I haven't looked much into Donovan, honestly. I haven't seen much of his tape, so I don't know.
I have watched him.
What do you think about him?
I think he's really good.
I'll go with the guy I know more. Give me Matthew Golden here.
Okay, Matthew Golden to the Lions. That's an interesting pick. All right. So here, uh, I was super happy and super prepared to just pick Omari and Hampton for the fun of it. And guess what I'm gonna do? I'm not gonna pick Omari on Hampton. I think Donovan is just too good to pass up on at this spot. So I will go with Donovan out of Boston College. But Omari and Hampton, just know that I always love you. And you really should be going right here. But it's okay. We'll let it slide. Donovan is going off the board for me at 29 to the Commanders. Who are you going with for the Bills?
For this Bills pick, ooh, I might see best corner on the board. Who do we have up there? I think we still have
Maxwell Harrison.
Yeah,
Yeah, Maxwell Harrison is
I like
probably
Darian Porter a lot, but I don't see him going this high.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think we just go and let me see the edges still on there. Still, it's just scoring, right?
Just score in linebacker. There isn't much left.
Yeah, I think we just go. I think I'll go best defensive player on the board in my opinion. I'm gonna go with Scorton here.
Score best defensive player on the board. You think
Oh
so?
no, sorry. Let me go Walter Nolan. Actually,
You're gonna go Walter Nolan. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Walter Nolan to the Buffalo Bills. Now the Chiefs are interesting. Just coming off a Super Bowl loss.
I don't have it
Obviously,
on me.
what'd you say?
So I don't have it on me. I was looking for my
Uh,
jersey.
New Jersey, yeah, you don't have it. Um, you know, Offensive line just across the board is just a very clear position of need. Signed DJ Humphries, move didn't really work out as we had hoped. Then we made one of my least favorite trades ever, Joe Tooney to the Chicago Bears for a fourth round pick.
Just don't understand it.
So, Jawan Taylor, I guess, is serviceable, but, in my opinion, we franchise tag Trey Smith, which if we hadn't, I guess that's why we traded Joe Tooney, even though so for a fourth round pick, I just really don't understand. So we still do have two of the best offensive linemen in the league at their respective positions. Creed Humphrey is the best center in football, and we still have Trey Smith. So that leaves, right tackle can definitely be improved upon. But Jawan Taylor was definitely much better this year. There's still some penalty issues, but left tackle and left guard are definitely issues of concern for the Chiefs. The Chiefs have been talking to Josh Connerly a lot. I personally like Donovan Jackson a lot just because of positional versatility. Even if he doesn't really stick at tackle, he can play guard for sure. He was a great guard last year in 2023. Uh, D line, Derek Harmon is still available. He is fantastic as well. I think I will go with Donovan Jackson today. I do definitely like what's his name, Josh Connerly and Derek Harmon, but I do think the positional versatility for Donovan Jackson. I think guard is a huge hole to fill for us. And Kingsley Sumatai did not play great last year, but he's still young. He can still pan out, and he definitely has the measurables of a tackle. And if he does pan out next year, then Donovan Jackson could slide in right at guard.
All right, and we got my Eagles coming up. A lot of overreactions, I think, in this offseason to some of the free agent losses, particularly like Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, which I think are both guys we just kind of had to let walk. I mean, Milton, he went for like 21 million a year, which is just not a salary we can afford to pay right now. And then Josh Sweat is just, in my opinion, replaceable. Uh, I like a lot of our young guys to fill in those roles. I like Jalix Hunt. I like Moro Jomo. Um, and I
I
think
think.
they both showed potential down the line. Sorry, what were you saying?
Oh well, you can continue for sure. Sorry, my bad.
I was just saying I think they both showed potential down the stretch. Especially Jalix Hunt played great in the playoffs. Really, as soon as BG got hurt, he stepped up and played well. So I don't think that edge or interior are necessary to go after. I think, I mean, the best player on the board might be Nick Scorton. But you could say that we're missing a slot guy if you want to be fun and go pick Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah, I think that
Um,
that's actually a receiver that would help a lot because he's a
yeah,
young guy. Yeah.
or reach for Harold Fannin because why not? But yeah, I like Emeka Ibuka here. I mean, Smitty can play in the slot. Even AJ has played in the slot like a
Yeah,
tiny
of
bit.
course, of course they can play in the slot.
Yeah, but you want a guy that is a slot guy that knows the slot, and I like Emeka Ibuka here.
Yeah, and you obviously want to keep AJ on the boundary as much as
Yeah.
possible, just because he eats there. Okay, this is our mock draft. I like this one a bit better than the last one. Maybe I'm
Yeah,
not
it had a
sure.
lot less wild picks in this one.
Yeah, a lot less wild picks. I mean, this was kind of a wild pick. I'm not gonna lie. This was kind of a wild pick, but everything else, I think
And no
um,
T Mac at 20.
no T Mac at 20. T Mac at 20. That's not the craziest pick of all time, but I've seen a lot of T Mac here. Uh, but yeah, I definitely like this mock draft a lot. Um, yeah. Any closing thoughts on it?
No, I think we got it down a bit more. I think in reflection, I'd probably go with Donovan over Matthew Golden once I check out his tape more. I haven't really studied enough on him. And overall, I think maybe Kenneth Grant a little bit higher, but that's not
Yeah,
a
that's
crazy
fair.
spot for
That's
Kenneth
fair for
Grant at
sure.
all. But
Yeah,
I like the draft overall.
Kenneth Grant could definitely go here for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, that will be it for our mock draft 2.0. You guys let us know in the comments if there's anything that you like, you don't like. Let us know if you're happy with your favorite team's pick. And we'll see you throughout the week, probably with another video. We'll come up with something, but we will for sure see you next Monday with another mock draft.